What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on Nootropics. It's also fight night for UFC 251. And dude, guys, chicks, post your picks in the comments section. I want to see what you think. I'm going for Masvidal. I want Max Holloway to beat Volkanovski because I just like Max better, and I think he has the ability to do it. I'd love Rose Namajunas to beat the other girl, Andrade. And yeah, I think Jose Aldo deserves a win. He's pretty good, and I think he got robbed of one of the previous bouts against a dude. So those are my picks on the main card. I'd love to hear yours below. Want to talk about? I'm gonna have to be somewhat vague for good purpose. You guys have to just trust me on that. Setting up the perfect storm for anxiety. Why it happens. When you're prescribed an anti-anxiety medication from your doc. Now, I don't want to be specific, but you guys use your imaginations on the major ones that hit the benzo site on the GABA-A receptor, right? Just put it that way. Even after dosing it, so a person's on a regimen of taking one of those drugs, within 2 hours of dosing it, even though supposedly it's an 11-hour half-life, right? So for elimination of the drug takes about 11 hours, which does not mean, by the way, that you will be actively using the drug within that time frame. People's metabolisms are different, particularly people's drug clearance systems are different, mediated by various liver detox pathways. Okay, so there's that, right? Sometimes as soon as 2 hours, but usually about 4 hours after taking the drug, the benzo site at the GABA-A receptor is already in withdrawal. It's already in withdrawal, and it's a terrible thing, right? So partially that's what keeps people on them, because like they run into a withdrawal even as they're taking them, and sometimes 2 to 4 hours later. And it's like, well, I must need to redose again. Those drugs are not meant for you to get off of them, for the record. They're not meant for that, right? What underlies that system is a hardcore, ruthless capitalistic framework. Now, I'm all for capitalism if it's done correctly. And the medical establishment is one of those places where I hate capitalism, right? But otherwise it's good. If you do it for good, it's good, right? So you're meant to stay on them. And the perfect storm is the withdrawal of the benzocyte at the GABA-A receptor, and therefore this uncontrollable response of excitatory neurotransmission, not the least of which and most prominent of which is glutamate, and it puts the person in the position where they're just anxious. Okay, so you decide, so doc told you to go on this med because you sort of had some sort of anxiety in your life, which could have been, and should have been controlled in another fashion. And then now it leaves you in a place where you basically just have to keep taking it because it's giving you rebound anxiety. And it itself sets up the perfect storm for more anxiety. How flawed is that model, right? Obviously, there's ways to get off of that. We won't necessarily discuss those protocols. Again, these are the kind of things that, I work with people on, and we successfully do that. But it's just, it's like, I don't know. The same reason we don't name our videos like with the word modafinil or phenibut, but we might talk about them in them, right? It's one of those things. So, I just think the whole thing is just a really, really shitty dynamic, and it's an unfortunate position that many, many people are in. It's terrible. It makes me sad and upset when I see it. And, usually the goal working with people in those situations is to remove that as soon as possible, and there's ways to do that safely. So, what I would tell people, though, that was a riff, I'm just riffing about that because I see it, is, you just have to, let's just say this. If you have anxiety and you're thinking about going on, some sort of medication for anxiety, again, being general, you would want, this is where the nootropics community and class of compounds comes in, you would definitely want to look at less intrusive ways of dealing with that. You'd want to understand the chemistry behind it. It usually is a glutamate GABA imbalance, sometimes mixed with excessive releases of adrenaline, and in some cases mixed with a higher secretion of cortisol. Okay, but there are much better ways to address that. Much better, safer, sustainable, longer-term ways to address that. And yeah, I guess just working with folks, some of you who are probably watching, yeah, I mean, I just, in those early phases of working together to try to resolve people's issues, yeah, I just feel for the pain that they're going through. Strategies to make it a lot easier, but it's just still just an unfortunate situation. So anyway, without being as anti-pharmaceutical as it relates to those drugs as I want to be, because that is one of my things. I'm kind of arch enemies with some of that stuff. It is, yeah, just something I want to talk about. I hope that makes sense. Hope all that process for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Sales on stuff. Yeah, we actually didn't have many sales of Cortex, and I found an extra box in the office. So we blew through like 5 yesterday. So now there is like 2 plus 24. There's 26 bottles left. So get them while you can, because we're going to be out of stock within a couple of days for sure. And it looks like the 20th or so of July is when Cortex is coming back in. So go to livecortex.com and get a bottle. Use the coupon code 30 to get a bottle for $24.50, I believe it is. Or you could buy the double stack and get 2 bottles, but each bottle is $24 a piece. Cheapest it's ever been, cheapest it's ever gonna be. Do that at livecortex.com. Next major thing is the Nootropics Masterclass is $55 even right now, and that's because we're launching the Nootropics God class. Decade plus taking Nootropics, massively nuanced, so we just reduced the price of the Masterclass, which is the 6-year mark, to $55. Cheapest it's ever been, cheapest it'll ever be. I'm a hiccup factory. Do that at livecortex.com. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Talk to you next time.